I would like to welcome everyone to someone who is an expert and who's a thought leader in the community, and I mean the community of people who look like us, who represent us wherever they go. I've watched some videos of this sister, and I am excited to be here with our sister Tiffany Lofton. Tiffany, welcome,
Thank you so
welcome.
much for having me. Hey.
So I want to respect our time, but I also want you to have an opportunity to kind of share with us what you do and who you are. Clearly, people can Google you and they're gonna find a wealth of
Oh,
information.
Lord.
But I rather hear it straight from you.
I don't know what they're gonna find on Google at this point. My name is Tiffany Dina Lofton. I'm born and raised in LA. I lived in Washington, D.C. for the last 11 years. I just relocated back to my home city February earlier of this year. And
Okay.
I'm the most recent National Director of Youth in College at the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Right now, I'm freelancing.
Mhm.
One of the
Amen.
things I just actually signed up to start doing is I'm organizing Delta flight attendants, go unions.
Okay.
They want
Yes,
to
yes,
join the
indeed.
American Flight Attendants Association. So if you fly Delta, talk to your flight attendants because they deserve a union as well. But I am the lead, higher education lead at the Debt Collective, which is a collective of individuals who represent borrowers from across the country who work to cancel debt, not just student debt, but all kinds of debt, medical debt, housing debt, debt from being formerly incarcerated. And they asked me earlier this year to join them in an effort to mobilize organizations across the country who are at the intersection of voting and turning people out to vote and making college more accessible. And the reason why I decided to do that work is because I went to the University of California, Santa Cruz. My first year of college, the regents, the governing board of the University of California school system, rose our tuition 38% my first year. And I got involved in student organizing immediately because I came from a family of zero family contribution. I took out loans. I still have loans. And I was like, this is not right. How can I fight so hard to get to college? And like these white people raise our tuition. I don't understand what's going on. And I got right. And I got involved in this work through relational organizing of different organizations, the United States Student Association and the University of California Student Association. They're all student run, student led. And my first job out of college was the executive director / president of the National Student Association. I got elected at FAMU. Shout out to FAMU if they're in the building. We had our conference there during the summertime and I got elected. So I come from that work. I've also worked for both national teachers unions, the American Federation of Teachers and the National Education Association. So education is my background and my work. And I'm very passionate about not just student loan debt cancellation, but free education and making education a right for everybody.
Sis, that is amazing and powerful. It is the story of well, your introduction is the story of someone who's living out their purpose and finding the different areas where representation is not there, but also voice is not there. And so I applaud you on being a change agent in those places. You don't get to do all the things that you are doing without having to break down some barriers and to upset some people. So continue to keep pursuing and pushing forward. But I want to bring this issue to light. The student debt crisis in our community.
I know this is being recorded, but I just have to let people know if y'all hear snoring, it's my dog. It's not me or another human being. He snores so loud and it's not preventable. So he's just built like that. Anyway, go ahead.
It's all good. Our community, we welcome any and everything. Trust me, we have live sessions and we get busy.
Snoring in the bed right next to me. Go ahead.
You didn't tell me the dog's name.
Razor.
Razor. Oh, that's dope. Okay, all right. My kids want a dog.
Look, he heard his name and he woke up.
Well, he know we were about to get busy, so that's what's happening.
That's right.
So I want to get into the student debt crisis. Clearly, the crisis has been laid out for us, right? We have, I think, 46 million people who owe over, I think, $1.6 trillion. Like it's the second largest debt issue that we have in this country. And clearly, from an economic standpoint, we can see that if this is not addressed, it's going to lead to some type of risk. Well, we're actually in a recession, but in some type of calamity, not only for the economy at large, but for Black and Brown folks. And I bring up calamity because if, in fact, you are trying to build wealth and you are trying to make advancements economically, buy a home, let's say, buy a car, plan for your next generation, this issue is not leaving. And so I kind of want to start with kind of where the community left off, with this understanding of the difference between reduction and forgiveness, right? Because the world I live in, forgiveness kind of means there's a merciful act that that eliminates the issue, the debt. And what we keep hearing termed as forgiveness kind of looks like reduction and relief for some. And I'm not against relief, but let's call a spade, and let's kind of make sure our people know what it is, because I think we've got a messaging issue. So jump in and kind of give us some truth and some clarity.
When I train organizers across the country, I describe to them the difference between a problem and an issue. Our problem is student debt. Our problem is student debt forgiveness. Our problem is student debt cancellation. Our problem is the cost of education. Our problem is the privatization of education. The problem is critical race theory. The problem is teachers not getting paid enough money. The problem is like union busting of workers at college campuses across the country. The problem is student agency and students not being able to decide what happens at the university or at the institution, and that some rich corporate people do. People power, not corporate greed. These posters are here for a reason.
That's what's up. That's what's up. We respect that. We stand with that.
Yeah, and so there's problem, but then there's issues, and issues are the solution to the problem. And I got introduced in 2007 to this curriculum of Black national organizing by the Midwest Academy, where we understand issues as the solutions to problems. And one of the issues that I have always been immediately, unapologetically in favor for is making education a right and making education free.
Amen.
That is my politics. That is my value system, is that whoever wants education should be able to have it. As I understand the historical suppressive context to education.
Sure.
But I do not ignore its mobility as a vehicle for our people to reach places that we otherwise haven't been able to reach. And what it does for individual human beings on its own basis to create new knowledge together and to be in that setting. So I love and will support always education being a right. If I support it being a right, then I have to make it accessible to every single person. And when we say free education and that being an issue that being solutions to our problems, so it's an issue, and us fighting for it, canceling student loan debt is a part of that agenda. And we have been calling for the cancellation of student loan debt for over a decade now. I remember working with, and I'm being the president of the National Student Association, USSA. It's my first job ever out of college. These posters were not here on purpose. They've always been here, but I just get to see that I'm pointing at.
Nah, you do your thing. I love it.
Every poster on my wall has a story, but this is USSA. It is the national student organizations, all the student governments across the country. And I was the president of the entire thing, 2.1 million students across the country. Wow. And we have always been calling for student debt cancellation in conjunction with Jobs with Justice, American Federation of Teachers, AFSCME, NEA, a bunch of these labor unions who have always said that we are going to fight to make education a right. And we're going to make it a right for everybody, for people who are citizens, for people who are undocumented, for people who have gone through the carceral system, for people who don't speak English, for people who have disabilities, for people who, want to go to school outside the country, whatever the layout is. That was our agenda item. It wasn't until 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, when I introduced this campaign as one of the pillars of the Youth and College Division at the NAACP. I was the national director for Youth and College most recently. Now shout out to Wisdom Cole, who's the current director. He's freaking dynamic. We had 3 issues: cancellation of student loan debt, preventing gun violence or ending gun violence, and voter registration. We wanted to make sure that our people were doing all 3 of the things. Right. And when I introduced it there, Ayanna Pressley, who was a good friend of mine, God bless her soul, and all the leadership that she has in Congress.
Powerful.
Dynamic and unapologetic about who put her there and why she's doing what she's doing. So shout out to Congresswoman Pressley. We had a conversation with her virtually because it was during the pandemic. And she said, we will stop saying forgiveness, to your point. We will say cancellation, because this is not the fault of borrowers who wanted to pursue higher education. Right. This is the result of bad policy by elected officials who made college too expensive. In the last 20 years, the cost of education has gone up 130%.